name is Craig. I'm a power host on tour with 12 vehicles, 10 of which I rent out. Here's a random tip. Utilize the power of perception. Here's an example. I've read a book multiple times, in fact, and I know it's cliche to say, hey, this book changed my life. A lot of people say that, but those people are usually endorsed in some way, shape, or form, right? Nobody's paying me yet. But I read the book, and the author, crazy enough, was 50 Cent. He's actually wrote quite a few books, and they're all brilliant. His writing style mirrors Robert Greene. He is the one who wrote the 48 Laws of Power, and he co-wrote a book with 50 called The 50th Law. And in real life, these guys are actually friends. So Robert Greene, it's not in his nature to abuse the information that he does put out, but he's a real history buff. But being paired with 50 allowed him to get to see his rules and wisdom put into action in real world settings, in corporate settings, and so on and so forth. So it's actually a beautiful, beautiful mix. It makes sense to why, as his following books still kind of mirror Robert Greene. Like the writing styles are similar. It makes sense. But in this book, there was a chapter that really just messed me up still to this day. One of them was on the power of perception. Believe me, I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember this verbatim. I've read the book several times, but I still don't remember this stuff verbatim. There was 2 segments in this chapter, and then here was the first one, and it was everywhere you go, every post you put on social media, you're being judged by a few people you know and a lot more that you don't. So it's important for you to present your best self possible, right? And that rings true. And at first you may not add whatever, like you don't really care, but here's why you should. Here's the second part that really messed me up. He paints a scenario. So he goes, picture this. You're pulling up to a red light and you're in a hoopty. And suddenly, I don't know what kind of car, we'll just call it a Bentley. A Bentley pulls up to your left and you're both at the stoplight. Suddenly you notice flames coming out from underneath this guy's car. You signal for him to roll down the window. He's gonna take one look at you and then look straight forward, because his perception of you is you're not somebody he should talk to. You're trying to save this guy's life and he's not giving you any attention. Now picture the same scenario, but now you're in a luxury car of your own. Now you're in a Ferrari or a Lamborghini. You pull up to a light, Bentley pulls up next to you, you notice flames coming out from underneath his car, you signal for him to roll down his window, he's gonna look at you, and he's gonna roll down his window 10 times out of 10 and ask, what can I do for you? Because his perception of you is you have something of value for him. But he only gave you the attention when you were in a luxury car of your own. Is it right? No. But it doesn't make it any less true. So capitalize on it. And that really messed me up because I wasn't a flashy kind of guy. I know some of y'all may see my videos and blah, blah, blah. I had already learned that advice by then. Prior to that, I drove in my Toyotas. I was more comfortable in my Toyota. I was more comfortable in just like regular clothes, a sweaty, some jeans, comfy. I don't really have anybody to impress. As long as I'm a good husband and I'm a good father and a good son, a good brother, and as long as I'm a good person at the end of the day, I really didn't give a shit about the appearances. I truly didn't. I was the kind of guy who would go to the store in pajamas. No shade, but ever since I read that whole book, but especially that chapter, that really shifted things for me drastically. So I started to put it in action. So one day, well, a few days, I decided to put it to the test. I said, okay, there's this local pub I like to go to, relatively quiet, but I like it. I like the atmosphere. It's cool. The food is good. Let's test there. All right. That's my starting point, my neutral, whatever you want to call it. And I started changing up how I dress. So I came kind of dressed to impress. And that's when I started getting into cologne. I made sure I got like a little bit of jewelry, nothing too crazy. Like it looks crazy, but it's really not that crazy. It is decent, but it's not, well put together. Make sure my hair was done, nice little shape up. Go to this pub and everybody's looking, who are you? What do you do? Yeah, right? It's like, it's only because I'm dressed this way and they see the big old watch, they smell the cologne. I'm looking the part. So now people want to talk to me, see who I am and what do I do. Oh, hey, my name is Greg, and I actually own a rental car company. Have you ever heard of Turo? I'm actually now one of the largest hosts. At that point, I wasn't quite the largest, but it was one of the largest hosts in the area, blah, blah, blah. Oh, that's cool. When we start shooting shit, yeah, that's one of my cars right there. And I'll point to the Toyota, which I was comfortable driving. That conversation would end so fast, it was insulting. Like, younger me would have been ready to fight. Younger me would have been, stupid. But younger me was dumber, I guess. Yeah, no, it's that level of insulting how fast the conversation ended. Every time. Like, I tried it multiple times. Controls was the word I was looking for. I tried it multiple times. The outcome was exactly the same every single time. The only time that anybody kept talking to me after that was usually a woman, and the woman was interested in me. And that's it. That's like the conversation shifted after she saw the Toyota, and everything shifted towards me, and that's how I knew, like, she didn't give a shit about that. She's had a couple drinks and she's feeling me. Whatever. It's not like I'm not wearing my ring. No thank you. Thanks, but no thanks. You gotta talk to my wife. But then I decided, okay, next time I'm trying it, got my hair done, shape up, whatever. Same outfit, same cologne, same jewelry, same vibes, same energy. Ooh, who are you? What do you do? Now I'm driving my BMW or my Cadillac or my Jaguar. My name is Craig. I own a rental car company. I'm one of the largest. Have you ever heard of Turo? Yeah, I'm actually one of the largest Turo hosts in this area. That's actually one of my cars right there. And I'll point to that BMW or that Jaguar or that Cadillac. And it's like, what? Can I see? Can we get to, yeah, sure. I'm an opportunist. Here, just, check it out. And I'll come out with them, give them a tour of the vehicle. They take one of my cards. Sometimes they'll book one of my vehicles. But the irony is, they don't book that vehicle. They book the Toyota. The same vehicle that they would have never gave me the time of day for. So their willingness to book with me was greatly influenced by the flashy car and not by the car that they would actually book. Doesn't really make sense to me, but it rings true every time. You're selling a dream. Now, again, I've said it before, you can't come ready to go and then not deliver. If you're dressed the part, you smell the part, you're driving the part, you got the whole aura going, you have to deliver. So these are the tools to get you through the door, but you still have to open the door. If you're not ready to open the door, don't do all this stuff, because then you're just gonna fall on your face and you're gonna look dumb. Yeah, the power of perception. It has completely shifted my entire trajectory. Nobody gave a shit when I was just dressed like a regular guy. Nobody gave a shit when, my hair was a little frizzy and the beard was a little scruffy. Nobody gave a shit when I was driving any of my Toyotas or like my older truck. Nobody really gave a shit. But when I got cleaned up and I threw a little jewelry on and I started smelling good and I started driving some of the nicer cars, everybody wanted a piece of me. So it's good for business. Is it right? No. It's absolutely not right. You shouldn't judge somebody just because of the car they drive or how they're dressed. But you do. Everybody does it. It's not like everybody does it to different levels and for different reasons, but everybody does it. If somebody starts approaching you in the Walmart parking lot and they look all fucked up, you're automatically gonna know, you know what I mean? You're already gonna have assumptions that this person is a drug addict and they just want some money and something along those lines. But if a person walks up to you and they, say, excuse me, and they're really well put together, you're gonna think, you're not really sure entirely what to think. You may think that they're about to pitch you an idea or something like that, but whatever it is, you don't think they're about to ask you for money if they look super clean cut and legit. So we judge people all the time, every day. I'm telling you right now, I judge people too. I've learned to judge a lot less. For example, whenever a guest books a vehicle, now the host has to verify their ID. They have to take a picture of their ID and then they take a selfie holding the ID. And you have to verify, does the name match, does the date of birth match, will the license expire during their trip, does the person in the photo look like the person holding the ID? And there's been quite a few people where I look at this photo or I look at their ID and I'm like, I don't know what crime it was, but that person did it. They did it, they're guilty. And they were some of the best guests I've ever had. And then there was people that looked really well put together and they were some of the worst guests I've ever had. The irony is not lost on me. I'm black with dreadlocks and tattoos. And I'm still kind of muscular despite my injuries. So, like, yeah, I get judged everywhere I go. So again, the irony isn't lost on me. Is it right? No, but it doesn't make it any less true. Another example, tapping into what I was just talking about, being, a black male with dreadlocks, tattoos, a little muscular, I have my concealed carry, but I'm not just out here carrying out in the open or whatever. But I generally, if I'm not super well put together, I generally come off as a threat. Is it right? No, but it doesn't make it any less true. I'm cool. I'm only a threat if you make me a threat. But because of what I look like and the color of my skin, my Turo picture is not a picture of me. Being black with dreadlocks and tattoos is not conducive to business, unless you're in the realm of entertainment. Other than that, it's not conducive to business. Is that right? Fuck no. That's wrong as shit. But it doesn't make it any less true. So my picture is not a picture of me. It's actually a picture of the mouse from Sing. And unless you have kids, you have no idea what that is. I've seen it firsthand. First off, I've experienced my whole life. I've seen it a lot with business. So especially when I was doing this out of my primary residence. So I live in a gated community. And actually I live on the newer side of that gated community. So as you start pulling in, the houses start getting nicer. And then you get to my house. And they'll pull up and they'll see my house and they're like, oh, you know what I mean? They start having thoughts and they start formulating opinions of what I'm going to look like. And then my black ass walks out and they're like, you can, like, it's on there. They can't even hide it. They can't even hide it. The shock every single time is hysterical to me. I guess I have a good sense of humor because you should be upset by that, but I think it's fucking funny. Just pure shock. Like they did not expect me to be the guy that walked out to them. And I capitalized on it. So now I got them in shock and awe. And that's when I start giving my spiel and my pitch, and I start giving them a tour of the vehicle, and I speak well, and I'm polite, I'm nice, I'm friendly. I shook their hand, and it just completely shifts their opinion of me. And this is just another prime example of capitalizing on things that aren't necessarily in your favor. It's not in my favor to have the color skin that I have and dreadlocks and whatnot, but I found a way to make it work to my benefit. By creating that shock, I was able to give them an experience that they won't forget. Now again, you have to deliver. If you don't deliver, it's not gonna work. But I delivered, I smacked that ball right out of the park. So that initial shock is what really sticks it into their memory. And I've used those tactics my entire life. I just never did it as a well-dressed man. I always did it as just whatever I was comfortable wearing. Even in my youth, I would, go to the bars or whatever, and anytime I would sit down, if a woman got uncomfortable, I took that as a challenge. It's not uncomfortable like, oh, there's a man sitting next to me. It's uncomfortable, like, I've been black enough to know the difference. There is a difference between this is just a man sitting next to me and I'm uncomfortable, and this is a black male, black or brown male sitting next to me and I'm uncomfortable. They're two very different things. There's subtle things that you could pick up on over time, and it is what it is. But I use it to my advantage. So one person at a time, my whole life, I've been, slowly charming these people. By the end of these conversations, they're smiling, giggling, and, twisting their hair and wanting to know a little bit about me, every time, every single time. I do it differently now. Everything I do is for business. It's not for, but you have to find ways to make some of your weaknesses your strength. And the power of perception is a very, 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 very powerful tool if used correctly. I'm gonna give you one more. So speaking on the power of perception, I don't just drive those vehicles now for an experiment. This is what I drive. Like my dailies are my BMW, my Cadillac, my Jaguar, my brand, my 2025 truck. The only time I am driving anything else is when I'm doing stuff for them. I'm taking them to the car wash or for maintenance or for, whatever, for an upgrade, or I need one. Like I need a truck, but like all of my nice trucks are rented. So, I'll take one of my old truck, or I need my 3-row. is when I'll take my Grand Highlander. It's a nice Highlander, but it's not a showstopper. Those are the only times that I don't drive the fancy cars. So I'm in the fancy cars all the time, and I try to present my best self possible as often as possible. Once the hair gets a little frizzy, I start slacking. But, you know, other than that, I'm usually pretty well kept. Instead of just using it for those experiments, I use it 24/7. So 24/7, I must have handed out thousands of cards just because I'm well dressed and I'm driving a nice car. They see me, they go, ooh. They see the car, they go, ooh. Or they see the car first and they go, ooh. And then they see me hop out and they're like, who's this guy? Oh, that's a really nice car. Yeah. Oh, you could take it for a spin anytime. Same when I'm doing Uber and Lyft. The reaction is exactly the same. They kind of chuckle like, oh, you okay? And then I pass them a card. And they're like, wait, you serious? Yeah. And then I give my spiel. But these people only gave me those opportunities because they saw I already had it. If they saw me in a regular Toyota, they would have never talked to me. Period. If they saw me dressed up and they didn't see the car, all right, maybe they'll talk to me. But when I show them, one of my cars and it's a Toyota, or I'm walking to that Toyota, they're not gonna bother to even look at the information on the car. That car is gonna go in their pocket and then right in the garbage. But because I had the total package, I created the opportunity. And it works. It works repeatedly, a lot, enough to keep doing it. Because other than that, like I don't think I would give a shit. It's nice to get cleaned up every once in a while, but I'm cool with just being cleaned up once in a while. But now that I have fully capitalized on this, like I try to do it all the time. So again, you can use this for this doesn't just pertain to rental cars. This pertains to anything that you want to do. If you're a businessman or an entrepreneur or whatever the case may be, this is a great tool. Shoot, I'll give you another example because I actually touched on this not too long ago with my roofer. So he was upset. He pulled up in, I can't remember, I think it was like a Toyota. Pretty sure it was a Toyota actually. He pulled up to this dealership to take a look at it. This guy buys I've lost track of how many trucks this guy's bought. And we're talking big boy $80,000 trucks plus. He's got an average of two a year at this point. He's always like selling one, getting another one, trading it in, selling this, getting another one. Like he's coming there to spend. But he pulled up, and I believe it was a RAV4. He pulled up in a RAV4. Nobody gave him the time of day. No sales people came out. He was just walking around there, couldn't get any help. And then finally he started getting help and he got pissed off and he left. He got pissed off and he fucking left. Just for context, it's a white guy. It's not, this wasn't a race thing. He was a white guy. I think he has blue eyes, if I'm not mistaken. I don't really be looking at his eyes like that. But he's, looks like an average white kid. But he's younger and he's younger than me. He's significantly younger than me. But he's doing really well. The guy has his own roofing company. He's doing amazing. Like, good for him. Like, if I wasn't broken, I'd be looking at that. But they didn't give him the time of day. He pulled up in a Toyota. He wasn't well dressed. He wasn't even dressed like a roofer. He was just kind of dressed like a random kid. So nobody gave him the attention at all. So he left, and then he came back later. But then he pulled up in his $80,000 truck that said Generations Roofing on the side of it. When I tell you half that store came running out to help him, half the damn dealership came out to help this kid. And he called him out on it too. He was like, it's like, man, I came up here the other day, not one of you motherfuckers came out to help me, blah, blah, blah. I have half a mind to leave right now. And I don't know if he did or not, I don't remember. But he told me the story, and I told him that it's normal. And I told him about the power of perception and then he was like, yeah, you're right. Because when I pulled up in the nice truck, everybody came running out. When I pulled up before, I just looked like a regular guy. I didn't even have any roofing clothes on or nothing. I was just a regular guy. And I said, yeah. And I told him the same thing. Is that right? He goes, no. And I go, exactly. But is it true? Yeah, I guess it is. All right then. So now that you know it's true, what are you going to do about it? Now, he drives something nice pretty much all the time. He never came back and like confirmed that with me, but he's always in something nice. But that is a huge one. Utilizing the power of perception. I can't stress that enough. It goes so much further than being well dressed. It goes so much further than just what you're driving. My whole presentation is everything. It's the cologne, it's the jewelry, it's how I wear the jewelry, it's how I talk, it's my hair, my shape up, the cologne if I didn't say that already, my jacket, my sweater, my pants, even down to the dress shoes. You have to show the total package to present as many opportunities as you can possibly get, because otherwise you're just leaving money on the table. Trust me, whatever you don't do, somebody else is going to do it. Period. And it might be me. As always, I'm your power host, Craig, and I hope I can provide a better experience.